Cobra King LTDx hybrids are here, and they feature some brand new technologies. But just how well does that perform? Let's go find out. Hybrids are an interesting club because they're more of a gap filler. You're looking for something to slot between your driver and your woods and your irons. So in terms of distance, you're kind of looking for something quite specific. And overall, I'd say for me, I'm looking for more forgiveness and dispersion than getting more distance. Having said that, in the past, I have found that some of Cobra's hybrids haven't travelled quite as far as I would want them to. But this year, we've got some new technology to help that. So these are Cobra's first hybrids to feature Powershell technology, and this is basically an L-shaped cup face. It's forged from thin stainless steel, and this allows it to flex a lot more than we've seen in previous Cobra hybrids, which is going to give us more ball speed and ultimately more distance. Now here I've got a 21-degree model, which for me I would probably be looking to carry about around the 190 mark. So it's going to be really interesting to see if this fills this gap this year. Now over the ball, I really like the look of these. They are quite a small hybrid and they're more rounded. So if you're someone who likes a fairway wood, if you're quite shallow, you're probably going to suit this. They're not really one of those hybrids which is quite iron-like and square in shaping. So I definitely prefer this kind of style. It also sits really nicely with this KBS shaft. I love how this colourway works into the club head. That was really nice. Nice high ball flight. Well, 190 from the pin and it looked like it carried all the way back to the flag. Yeah, so 191 carry straight out the blocks there, so pretty good so far on distance. Now in terms of hybrids, obviously a big thing is ball flight. A lot of times people are using these to hit into greens. For me, I like to attack par 5s with these, so you want a nice high ball flight that's going to land softly. And so far we are getting that. I mean, that one was up at 92 feet. Oh, that was a really nice strike. Felt fast. Yeah, that's carried out at 197. A pretty big jump up in distance because I would say last year with the rad speeds, like I was only around the 180 mark with this similar kind of loft. So for me, it just didn't quite fill the gap because it was too near my 5 iron as my longest iron. So in terms of distance, this is a lot better because it would fill the gap much easier. Now so far these shots have been fairly consistent. I would say the left to right dispersion is probably a little bit better than the front to back, but obviously that's to be accepted in terms of strike differences. But so far, pretty much every shot's finished within like 15 foot of the pin, either left or right, which would obviously be really strong in terms of performance out on the course. Again, really nice strong ball flight. The only thing I would say is between the shots, the spins varied quite a bit, so probably like almost 800 RPM difference between my best and my worst shot, which is obviously quite large, but then again, this is just like a stock shaft. It is 85 grams, which is probably a little heavier than I would have used. So I think we could tighten that up in a fitting scenario. I've always been pretty happy with the dispersion in Cobra hybrids throughout my testing, and again that stayed really strong here, but I think that increase in ball speed and that little bit extra distance is a real benefit to the performance of these clubs. So overall I was definitely pretty happy with that performance. If we walk up to the green here, you can see that the dispersion overall was pretty good. And for me, I'm really impressed with that increase in distance because I've gone 190 out specifically because that is where I would want that club to sit in my bag between my other gapping, and it worked out really nicely. Some of my shortest shots were all carrying over the kind of 185 mark, which is definitely pretty good. So you can see they've just ended up on the fringe here. But then if we move that this way, a lot of them have got just past the pin or pin high. In fact, 4 of my 10 shots finished inside 10 foot, which I'd definitely be pretty happy with. In terms of distance, they averaged out at 191, which is definitely pretty solid for that gap. And also in terms of dispersion, my worst shot finished inside 30 foot of the pin, so it's not really going to go much wrong from there. In terms of height, you can see all these shots have stopped pretty quickly, and that's because this was flying up at nearly 100 feet. And apart from one shot which I caught pretty low off the face, it was really consistent in terms of that height as well. So in terms of that land angle and stopping power, definitely a really good option. Overall, I've been pretty happy with the performance of this club. As I said, for me, it's about dispersion and that control, which I definitely think is something that this club is really good at. But what we have seen with that new tech in the face is that we've driven up that ball speed and got a little bit extra distance. So now that this club sits in a really good gap between the 5-iron and other woods that you have in your bag. Right, that's all for today. If you have any questions about these hybrids or anything in the LTX lineup, feel free to drop them in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications too. And if you're after more golf content, head over to the National Club Golfer social media channels for more.